Hello guys, welcome back to NetCreed. In today's video, we are going to talk about all the new JavaScript array methods you missed in 2023. Many new awesome features were added to JavaScript in 2023. However, our concern for today is going to be the new JavaScript array methods you missed while you were worrying about AI taking over your job. If you prefer a functional approach to programming, then you're familiar with some mutable array methods in JavaScript and irritating bugs that they can produce. We all know that sorting an array in JavaScript will mutate the original array, and this behavior is not what we always want because this messes up the flow of our code in our head and it creates bugs that are very difficult to track. We are also well aware of how difficult it is to get the last occurrence of an item from an array in JavaScript. You had to write some hack that looks like a spell from a 16th century witch book. The fact that you had to use this gimmick or go online and copy something of Stack Overflow to get the last occurrence of an item from an array in JavaScript is witchcraft on its own. So in today's video, we are going to discuss all of the new JavaScript array methods that were added to JavaScript that can greatly simplify the way we manipulate arrays, allowing us to write code that is less buggy and adheres to true functional programming principles. And as such, in today's video, we are going to consider how to create an immutable sorted array. We are going to see how we can create an immutable reversed array. We are also going to see how we can run an immutable splice operation on an array. We are also going to see how we can find the last item from an array. And last but not the least, we are going to see how we can stop running indexed mutations on array in JavaScript. So we are going to go ahead and start with the immutable sort. Okay, JavaScript has decided to make our life easier as developers by providing us with a method that allows us to sort an array without having to mutate the original array. This method will instead create a sorted copy of the original array. It's not going to mutate the original array. This method is known as the array.prototype.toSorted method, and we are going to see how this method works shortly. This method is much similar. This method is very much similar to the array.sort method. The only difference between the two of them lies in the fact that array.sort is going to mutate the original array of which you're calling that sort operation, while array.toSorted it's not going to mutate the original array. Rather, it's going to return a sorted copy. So let's go ahead and see an example of how the array.toSorted function works. Let me walk you through this code base. Basically, I have just two files you need to concern yourself with. I have an index file here, and this is just a simple JavaScript file. Inside of the body, we just have a h1 element that has a text that reads new JavaScript array method, and I have linked to a script tag. I'm going to defer this. Let me add the defer attribute on this script tag. I have linked to a script tag here using this script element, and src for this script tag is test.js, and this file is here. It's inside of our project. Okay, it's going to be inside of this test.js that we are going to write all of our JavaScript. Okay, I just linked to this. I just use this HTML page to link to this JavaScript file. So all of our JavaScript we write inside of this file gets loaded up in the browser. So let's preview that page and let's see what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to refresh this page just to be sure that it's in sync with what we have. So nice. Let's go back. So let's go back to our code. The first thing I'm going to do is to open up this test file, and I'm going to show you how the sort method works first. So you are going to appreciate how the toSorted method works. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new array. So I'm going to say const array is equal to 0, 8, 3. Now I'm going to create another variable, const sorted array. And sorted array is going to equal to array.sort because you're going to call the sort method on it. I'm going to go ahead and console log this sorted array, but first of all, I'm going to label it. So this is going to be sorted array, and this is going to be sorted array. Then I'm going to come down and console log the original array. But first, let's label it original array, and this is going to be array. If I spell array correctly, I'm going to go ahead and save this, come back to our browser, and let's see what we get. We can see that the sorted array here contains 0, 1, 3, 5, 8. But let's go back to our code first. Let me just log this original array before I sort it. Okay, console.log original array before. There's no need for that before. Then this is going to be array. So let me save this, come back into our browser. You can see that calling the sort on that original array mutates the original array. Even even before we call this sort here, because we are logging out the sorted array. This is the sorted array. Why this and this is the original array? This is the sorted array. You can see that calling sort on the original array mutates the original array, and this behavior is not what we always want, because like as we have established, it could lead to bugs. So how do we get around this? We have to use the toSorted method, okay? And we have said that the toSorted method is similar to the sort method, just that it does not mutate the original array. So let's go back into our code and see how we can use the toSorted method. So you have to replace this sort call here with toSorted, right? I'm going to go ahead and save this and come into our browser, and now let's see what happens. You can see that this is the original array before we sorted it. You can see that we have 0, 8, 3, 5, 1. Now this is where we call array.prototype.toSorted, okay? We are calling toSorted on the original array, and you can see that this array has resorted. 0 is now the first item, followed by 1, followed by 3, followed by 5, and then followed by 8. But we come under that after we log the sorted array. We now log the original array again here, and you can see that this is the same with this, right? The toSorted method did not mess with the original array. It preserved the value of the original array. It did not mutate it. Instead, what it did was to create a sorted copy of the original array. So that's how the toSorted method works in JavaScript, and that's how you can use the toSorted method to create or to run an immutable sort operation in JavaScript. So the next method we are going to look at is how to run an immutable reverse operation on an array. And being entirely honest with you, like I've hardly ever had to reverse an array, but if you're a 10x developer and you do some crazy level programming, then you might need to reverse an array. But traditionally, we had the array.reverse method for reversing an array in JavaScript, and this method we update the original array just like array.sort. And we've already established that this behavior is not always desired. However, JavaScript has now provided us with the array.toReversed method, which reverses an array. But instead of mutating the value of the original array, it is going to return a reversed copy of the original array. So let's go ahead and see an example of how this works. But first of all, we are going to see how the array.reverse works, so you appreciate how the array.toReversed function that's just been added to JavaScript works. I already have an array here, so all I'm going to do is to delete all of this first, and I'm going to come under here. I'm going to say const reversed and reversed. Can spell reversed correctly. Reversed is now, oh, this is const. Let's spell const correctly. Const reversed is now equal to array.reverse, right? I'm going to come under here. We've got to log. This is going to be reversed. This is going to be reversed. Meanwhile, under that, you're going to also log original array, and this is going to be array, and I'm going to save this. Coming to our console, you can see that this line here is where we console log the reversed array, and this is the array we reverse using the original array.reverse method. And after we've logged out the reversed array, we now log out the original array, and you can see that calling the reversed method on the original array mutates the value of the original array such that the value we get for the reversed array and the value we get for the original array are exactly the same thing, proving what we said earlier, that calling the reversed method on an array is going to mutate the value of that array. Okay, now let's see how we can use the toReversed method to negate this. Let's go back into our browser, and I'm going to change this reverse code here to the toReversed. Okay, nothing is going to change, and I'm going to save this. I'm going to come back into our browser. I'm going to refresh this, and now you can see that on this line where we logged out the reversed array, you can see that the array has been reversed. Okay, and this is the reversed array. But on the next line where we log out the original array, you can see that the value of that original array has been preserved, and calling the toReversed function here on this array did not mutate the value of this array. Okay, this original array remained the same. It created a reverse copy of this array, which we stored in this variable reversed. We logged it out to the console, and you can see that this is the value for the reversed array. Meanwhile, this is the value for the original array. Okay, so let's move on from that, and let's go ahead and let's look at how we can run an immutable splice operation. If you call the splice method on an array in JavaScript, it is going to behave like the other two methods we just discussed. It is going to mutate the original array. The splice method is used to change the contents of an array by either replacing, removing, or adding new elements to the array. The It's a handy way to insert, update, or delete a value from a particular index in an array. So let's go ahead and see how the splice method works in JavaScript. Okay, so let's go back into our code, and I'm going to delete all of this. I'm going to create a new array, and this array is going to have the following values: Monday, so this is going to be Monday. We have another one Wednesday, we have another one Thursday. Okay, now I'm going to call splice on this array. Okay, I'm going to say array.splice. Then I'm going to pass in 1 as the first argument to it, and I'm going to pass in 0 as the second argument to it, and I'm going to call passing Tuesday as the third argument to it. The next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and console.log this array. Okay, now I'm going to save this. Let's come back into our browser and let's see what happens. You can see that the array now has 4 items as opposed to 3 items when we created it. Okay, so first of all, let me just explain how this splice method works. Okay, the splice method accepts 3 arguments. Okay, the first argument, which is this, is the index of the item we want to remove, or the index of the item we want to replace, or the index of the item we want to add to the array. Okay, while the second argument, this is the number of items after the index we specified as the first argument that we want to remove. Okay, so if I change this to 1 and let me save, and let's go back into our browser and see what happens. You can see that we no longer get Wednesday again. Instead, we get Monday, we get Tuesday, we get Thursday. And if I change this to 2, you can see that you are going to see that we are no longer going to get back Thursday. So let me save this and come back into our console. You can see that we no longer get back Thursday. So this second argument we pass to the splice method determines how many items we should delete from the array after the index we specified as the first argument, which is this. Then this third argument represents the value we want to insert at this index. Okay, this first argument we pass. This last argument, this is the value we want to insert at this index. Makes sense? That's why you can see that in this array we get back here, Tuesday is not the second item because we inserted Tuesday at an index of 1. Now you can observe that this splice method here does not even return a value. Okay, instead it just mutates the original array and it leaves it like that. And for you to get the result of calling this splice on the original array, you have to go back to that original array you call the splice method on, which is what we are doing here. And we have established that this is not desired and this should not always be the case. So what do? We can call it to splice method on it, and it works similar to this splice method. However, instead of mutating the original array, it is going to return a spliced copy of the original array. Okay, so I can come over here and I can create a new variable, const. I duplicated our cursor, so let me delete 1. I'm going to say const. This is going to be spliced, and this is going to be equal to array.splice. Let me spell const correctly. Then I'm going to go ahead and console.log. This is going to be spliced array, and this is going to be spliced. This is going to be original array, and this is going to be array. Then I'm going to save this, come back into our browser, and let's see what happens. Before we do that, we need to change this splice to spliced. Okay, so everything works. Save that, come here. Now I'm going to refresh this. This is where we log out the spliced array, and you can see that the spliced array contains only 2 items, Monday and Tuesday. Meanwhile, the original array remains the same, 3 items, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And if you go back into our code, you can confirm and see that that's true, because the original array, which is this we created here, has only 3 items inside of it. Okay, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. That corresponds to the value we log out to the console. Meanwhile, the spliced array only has 2 items inside, because we said that we want to insert Tuesday at an index of 1 while deleting 2 items from the array. And if I change this to 0 back, you're going to see that we are going to get back Wednesday and Thursday included to that Tuesday. You can see that this spliced array also changes, but the original array does not change. Its value remains the same. So JavaScript has also made it very easy to find the last item in an array easily. Okay, so gone are the days where we had to write weird gimmick or had to go to Stack Overflow, copy the code for finding the last occurrence of an item in an array. Now do that by default using the array.end action. Okay, this method is among the new methods added to JavaScript arrays. So let's go ahead see how that works. Okay, so I'm going to delete this. I'm going to replace the values in our array, delete all of these values we inserted into it. This is going to be 2, this is going to be 4, this is going to be 5, this is going to be 6, this is going to be 6 rather, this is going to be 8, and this is also going to be 5. Now I'm going to create a new variable under this. This is going to be called last item. I want to make the I capital letter, and this is going to equal to array.findLast. Okay, this is the find last method. This find last method is very much similar to the find method in the sense that it takes a predicate. That predicate is a kind of like a check that is going to use, that JavaScript is going to use to go over the items in that array and check which of the values that matches that check. Now, when it has discovered the values that matches that check, it is going to return to us the last value, okay, from all of the values inside of that array that passed the check. Makes sense? So what I'm going to go ahead and do is to check inside of this array, and I'm going to return the last item that is an odd number. Makes sense? So let me pass in my predicate rather. This is going to be item. Now this is an anonymous function. This is going to return the item modulus 2 is not equal to 0. So this is how we find the odd number from an array. Then we use the modulus operator on the item, and we say that if the remainder of dividing this item by 2 is not equal to 0, then we know that that item is an odd number, and we just want to return the last occurrence of that item, which is what this find last function does. So I'm going to go ahead and console log this last item, save this, come back into our browser. I can see that we get 5 matching the last item in this array. Makes sense? Okay. What if we are interested in getting the index of the last item instead of the value of the last item? JavaScript also provides a new method for us to do this, and that is the find last index. Okay. So the find last index is going to return the index of the last item. The find last index method is going to return the index of the occurrence of the last item that passes the predicate if passed to the find last function. Makes sense? Let me take that again. I said the find last index method is going to return the index of the last occurrence of the item that passes the predicate. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is to come under here and create a new variable. This is going to be last item index. Okay, this is going to equal to array.find last index, and I'm going to bring this down a bit, and this is a function. Okay, now this function is similar to the function we discussed above in the sense that it's going to take in a predicate that's going to determine how we are going to search through that array to find the items that matches that value. Okay, so this predicate here is going to take an item. This is going to be called to an arrow function. Now we are going to say that if the item modulus 2 is not equal to 0. Okay, so this is to find the index of the last odd number in this array. Okay, so let me go ahead and say add a new console log statement. I'm going to say console.log. This is going to be index of last item, and this is going to be last item index. Okay, let me just remove all this, and this is just going to be index. Save this, come back to our browser, refresh. You can see that the index of the last item in this array is 5. Okay, not the index of the last item, sorry, the index of the last odd number in this array is 5. So let's check our array and confirm that it is actually 5. How many items do we have in this array? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that matches it. Okay, the index of the last item in this array is 5. So that's how you find the last item in an array in JavaScript, and that's how you find the index of the last item in an array in JavaScript using the find last and the find last index method that were newly added to JavaScript's array methods. Okay, so last but not the least, we are going to look at one more method. That is, I said we are going to look at how we can stop running index mutations, okay, on array. So what the heck do I mean when I say index mutation? When I use the term index mutation, I'm just talking about using the index of an array together with the square bracket mutation to update a value in that array. Okay, this mutation are side effects, especially when we are doing them inside of a function that accepts an array as an argument. They prevent our code from being pure functions, and pure functions are the bedrock of functional programming principles. So JavaScript has provided us with a new method, the array.with method, that allows us to create copy of an array while updating or removing items at a particular index. Makes sense? So I'm going to go ahead and show you an example of how that works. Let's first of all go back into our code. I'm going to delete all of this. I'm going to create a new array, and this is going to be colors. This is going to have an array of colors. This is just going to be red, this is going to be green, and this is going to be blue. Okay, now I'm going to create a new array. This is going to be, if you can spell const correctly, why am I spelling const wrongly? This is going to be updated. So this is going to be equal to colors.width. Okay, and this is the method, the width method. Okay, now this method accepts two arguments. The first is the index that we want want to update, remove, or insert. Okay, so I'm going to insert, I'm going to pass in 1, okay, because I want to insert the value yellow at an I index of 1. Okay, makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to console.log this updated array. Okay, this is going to be updated, and I'm going to go ahead and log updated. I'm going to go ahead and console log our original array. So this is going to be original, and this is going to be colors. Give some space. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save that, come back into our browser, refresh. Let's see what we get. You can see that here we get back on the updated array, we get red, we get yellow, we get blue, and that with function has swapped out green for yellow inside the updated array, which is this. But watch what happens inside the original array, because right after we log out the updated array, we also log out the original array. You can see that the original array does not change. And let me go back into our editor so you can see the value of that original array. You can see that this is the value of that original array: red, green, and blue. Let's go back to our code. You can see this is red, green, and blue. But after that, we call the colors.width. We pass 1 as the first argument, which is the index of 1, and we set the yellow as the value we want to replace at an index of 1. That is, we want to replace green with yellow. Then we console log the updated array, which is this. And you can see that from what we have inside of our console here, you can see that this array has been updated, right? Green has been swapped for yellow, but the value of the original array remains same. So that's it for this video, guys. Those are all the JavaScript array methods you missed in 2023. Hope you found this video useful and interesting. Please give it a like, subscribe to the channel so you can get access to all my videos in the future as they drop, and I'm going to see you in the next one.